Welcome to FUS Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is fusunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to FUS Unitarian Society of Minneapolis on this bright, sunny Sunday, February 11th, 2024. You are here for Super Roll Sunday. We expect to smell the delicious smells of cinnamon and yeast coming up from downstairs to whet our appetites. FUS Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. Our programming is on-site, live, online, live, and on demand, 24/7. I'm the Reverend Kelli Clement, and I serve this congregation as your assistant minister. I'm joined today by our music director, Mike Vazich, and the FUS Chalice Choir, looking good, Chalice Choir, and our guest speaker, Lena K. Gardner, Executive Director of BLUU, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. If everyone, wherever you are, would look to your right or to your left and say, "I'm so happy you're here today." I'm so happy you're here today. I'm so happy you're here today. This is what we're all about at FUS Unitarian Society: conversation, fellowship, connection, and the work of love and justice. Everyone, welcome to this place of love and justice, where we attempt to live up to humanity's highest ideals and highest hopes. Do we fail? Yes, often. Do we try again? Yes, always. Because we are people looking out for each other, for other sentient beings, and for the planet. Welcome all to this place of love and justice, to this gathering where the sacred and the holy are created by our being here together. Thank you for being with us today. Mike?
Good morning. We are doing 3 pieces today with our Chalice Choir. In the month of February, we have a theme of basically love and the power of love, and we're also highlighting African American composers during the month of February. And we have 2 pieces by a contemporary composer named Mark A. Miller that are both around the idea of the power of love and what it can do for changing the world. And then we'll be closing with a piece by Franklin J. Willis, who is a music educator and choir director in Tennessee, and it's a brand new piece called Be the Light that was inspired by a poem by Amanda Gorman, and it is just asking us all to be the light and hold each other up and use our time and energy towards making the world a better place. So those are the 3 selections for today, and we're going to start with Love Has Broken Down the Wall.
Love has broken down the wall. Say with me our chalice lighting. We aspire to make the change we need for a more just, compassionate, and peaceful world.
And now we get to join these beautiful voices and we get to sing. Circle Round for Freedom is number 155 in the Gray Songbook. Of course, you'll see the lyrics up here, and we're going to sing it twice through, once in unison, and then the second time, if you feel like you want to add some harmony. I think the choir, boy, that was pretty harmony you had before, will help us with some harmony the second time through. Please rise as you're willing and able. Congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. First Unitarian Society is a congregational humanist community. That means we are here for each other, for our neighbors, and for our planet. When we gather on Sundays, we take a few moments to reflect upon the human experience, the joys, the sorrows, the milestones of this human life. We do this so that we stay in touch with our own humanity and to remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness. FUS member Larry Gottschalk had a heart procedure, will be undergoing this week, a heart procedure at Abbott Northwestern. On the 14th, so it's really heart day for you, Larry. It's a new trial procedure, and you feel fortunate to be involved, and we are with you as you navigate this, you and Pat, as you navigate this week. And we send healing thoughts to Carol Barclay, who fell a few weeks ago. She broke her hip on a family visit to California, but she's healing well. I want to say what is impossible to say, the words about Palestine and Israel. I have not spoken a great deal. We have not spoken a great deal about Palestine and Israel from this pulpit, other than to send love and sympathy and healing thoughts. It's impossible to say anything, I think, of use other than our hearts continue to break. We feel helpless, we feel hopeless. I want to run away and not read anymore. It's so difficult to hold the complexity the complexity of an impossible situation, and to know that what we are seeing is so, so wrong. Our hearts and thoughts and wishes are with Palestinians and with Israelis who are working for peace, and with the hostages who remain, and with the families who are completely broken apart, and with the communities that are decimated, and with the people who feel that the world has forgotten them, and with the people of ancient struggles. Our hearts are broken, and we come here to have our hearts together in one place. We can be brokenhearted together. Let it rest here in our bodies and know that we have each other. Blessings for peace for the world. Now we take a few moments to reflect on those in our world who work to comfort the suffering and those who work for justice. It's a great treat to have our guest speaker with us today from BLUU, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. And before I introduce you, I would like to introduce you to BLUU. We have a video.
Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or BLUU for short, is an inclusive spiritual community for Black people. We are unapologetically Black, unapologetically spiritual, and unapologetically liberated. Unitarian Universalism invites us to honor many spiritual lineages, traditions, and practices, while grounding in our shared commitment to seek justice and curiosity in this life. While BLUU is a Unitarian Universalist community, we invite Black folks who aren't Unitarian Universalists to be part of our BLUU spaces as well. BLUU started in 2015 when a small group of Black Unitarian Universalists met at the Movement for Black Lives convening in Cleveland, Ohio. Since then, we've created a thriving community where people can worship together, learn more about justice and organizing, and enjoy getting to know other Black folks who care about the spiritual call to collective liberation. We center queer and trans people in our staff leadership and in our programming. We honor our elders and appreciate the wisdom of our youth. We have meaningful gatherings virtually and in person. During our worship spaces, we often say, "Welcome home." That's because we mean it. We're BLUU. Nice to meet you.
To introduce my friend and someone I've considered a colleague since we were in seminary, Lena Gardner, the executive director and co-founder of BLUU. Lena received her Master in Arts and in Justice and Peace Studies from United Theological Seminary of the Twin Cities. She lives in Minneapolis. She was active in the Movement for Black Lives between 2013 and 2016 as a central leader of the Black Lives Matter Minneapolis chapter. And in her Unitarian Universalist faith locally and nationally since 2012. And I don't think it says in here, but she's also mama to Winnie, a delightful 4-year-old. And so, Lena, we are delighted to welcome you here today. Please.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you here today. I am really glad to be here. So I was brought here to talk about BLUU and our work and a particular justice initiative that we're really excited about. So I will start out by saying that I was one of the small group of people at the convening in 2015. So I like to say I'm sort of the last man standing from that original group that's still in leadership at BLUU. It was a beautiful time. Why we really created BLUU was because a lot of us at that table were involved in activism and organizing in some realm, some with Black Lives Matter movement, some with other movements, other Black organizations. And we felt like we weren't being supported in our Unitarian Universalist congregations, which are also really important to us. So we decided, let's start let's start BLUU, let's start our own, right? And Black people have been doing that since we were brought to this country, starting our own places for our own spiritual nourishment and our own well-being. And with that, I will say we also started it with a lot of support and encouragement from different parts of Unitarian Universalism. I think I'll just pause here and say, I think it's important too to mention that we were not the first group of Black activists in Unitarian Universalism to try to create our own programming and communities and try to get more support. There was another group in 1968 that did similar things. And they were supported. There was a promise made to them from the board of directors of the Unitarian Universalist Association. And bear with me, I'm telling the story because it's important. And so when we came around, let me back up. So in 1968, there were a variety of things that happened, but the support, the financial support that was promised to that group of individuals was taken away. They went back on the promise for a variety of reasons, but racism was included in one of those reasons, I think. And so you fast forward to 2015, 2016, 2017, and now you have another group of activists, and we are sort of walking in the same footsteps. And we were actually approached by two members of blessed memory, Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs and Denny Davidoff, to say, we were there in 1968 when that injustice was done. And they said, we don't agree with it. And we see helping support BLUU as part of a reparations framework, a part of making a wrong right. And so that's when sort of the decision to help really fund BLUU to get off the ground was made. It was made through that very reparative framework. And one of the elders in that community, he's a secular humanist, Mtangalizi Sanika, we call him Baba. He is on our elders council, and one of the things we did was we approached him and said, is this right? Is this right? And he said, absolutely. You are following in our footsteps. And we, as an elder, he gave us his blessing, and he's been part of our growth along with other elders as well. But I mention him in particular because he was part of that original group. So with all of this happening, we did a few things. We made a convening in 2017 where we invited about 120 Black Unitarian Universalists to come and tell us what their vision for Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism should be. And there was a lot of things that came out of that. And of course, us being a group of organizers, we thought people were going to be like, yeah, we want to build this base building powerful thing, and we want to, be out there on the streets. That's not what people said. Not at least some people did, but it was like a second or third priority. The first priority was a deep, deep longing for a spiritual home where they wouldn't have to suspend parts of their identity at the door in order to partake in the gifts of Unitarian Universalism, right? So some people, and they found this because, sorry, my thought went in three different directions. But people came and they said, what we really want is a place where, we can bring our full LGBTQ trans identities into this space and not be excluded, where we can bring our full Blackness in all of its varied expressions, because we're not a monolith, right? And still be affirmed. And so that is the place from which we took that charge really seriously. And that is the place from which we created BLUU. So we shifted gears a little bit. One of our first hires was Reverend Michael Slack. We always started as an online organization. So we started offering worship twice a month. There was a lot happening in the world, so we also created a pastoral care line, which is still available and in use today for Black Unitarian Universalists and just Black folks who want or need support. We also started our daily affirmations. So those were a couple of those are sort of our bread and butter spiritual programming that we've offered since 2017 when we got funding from the Unitarian Universalist Association. And on the justice side of things, we didn't totally pull back and not do anything, because we did hear from people that is something that's important as well. And so we did a bunch of other things, and I wrote down a list to help just give you highlights, right? So a few things we have done over the years is given away a total of $120,000 in disaster relief grants to, I think our numbers were 97% Black folks and a few Afro-Latino folks in the southern states. And this covered a variety of hurricanes, winter storms, and other natural disasters that happened. We also did a lot of programming within Unitarian Universalism. Some of you may remember it. Things like raising money for the Mama's Day bailout, where we were actually liberating Black mothers in prison who have not been convicted of any crime. Some of them have been in prison for 2 years or more. And we organized a bunch of congregations to do teach-ins around this. The Mama's Day Bail Fund is a national organization that's still going, right? We haven't ended the cash bail system yet, but we were really proud to be a part of that process. And we also believe that Black liberation is connected to collective liberation for all oppressed groups in our world. So we went to Standing Rock on the International Day of Prayer with supplies and solidarity. We see the treatment and degradation of the earth as interconnected and so important to our liberation. We also we partnered with Mi Gente. We went to the border to protest and give humanitarian supply relief to the families experiencing separation at the border. I myself door knocked in Arizona to try to get Arpaio out of office. Yep. And yep, we did that. And we sponsored a lot of white supremacy teach-ins. We were a part of the group, although that was a group of religious educators. We helped sponsor that. And we've done a few different theological education series within Unitarian Universalism around white supremacy and how it shows up in our faith. And, that's not all we've done. So I just wanted to give you a brief highlight. But it is a good overview of sort of that we, really deeply believe in collective liberation, and we want to be a safer, more inclusive space for all Black Unitarian Universalists. So that's sort of, the backstory. I will also say, just after sort of in the middle of the pandemic, we decided we wanted to restructure our organization to try to be more a flat hierarchy, and we are really trying to work our way through what does that mean and how do you do that. So we are also going through a restructure, and I think we're on the tail end of it. We should be in the spring announcing our new structure and what that's going to look like, and we're really excited about it. So that all said, I want to talk about today, I want to talk about our housing initiative. How did this come about? What happened? It basically started because when we received our funding from the Unitarian Universalist Association, which was $5.3 million, we decided two things. We were going to start an endowment, and we were going to use that as startup funds to help us create the organization from the ground up. But we were also really clear that we didn't want this money to just benefit Black Unitarian Universalists, because all of us came from a community somewhere of Black folks who sacrificed for us and made it better for us. So at that time, the group of us on the organizing collective board, we sort of started putting out feelers in our own home communities to figure out where we could be of help, of service. And one of my connections here in Minneapolis at the time came to the surface, and at the time, it was just, if you all buy these lots for us, these are empty, vacant lots from the county. They have been tax forfeited. If you buy these lots and hold them, this other organization was going to do all of the other work around building the cooperative, recruiting the families, getting the structure, getting the financing. And so we said, yes, we feel like that's within our scope and our capability, right? We feel like that's something we could do. So I was like, I think like 20 some weeks pregnant, and went to the county office and I handed over a check for like $163,000 for all 8 lots. And we bought them. and we were like, yes, this is great. And then the other organization we were partnering with collapsed. And it's really sad. And we were faced with the decision of, do we keep these lots or do we try to sell them? And we decided we were committed to the housing cooperative idea. We were committed to housing justice as one of the ways and most urgent needs in our communities. And so that meant that when I came back from maternity leave, I was like, we got to find new partners to do this because none of us have any housing development experience. So we were lucky enough I started putting out feelers, making connections, and we are lucky enough to be able to partner with Urban Homeworks. They are our main organizational partner as we develop this project. And I'll save you all a lot of nitty-gritty details and just tell you that we have a closing date of sometime in the week of March 18th for our first site, which we're very excited about. These are going to be 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom homes, new construction. It's going to be on one site, 3 homes right next to each other. We did that on purpose because in Minneapolis, there's a favorite to stack. But that bottom unit, it's an equity piece, right? Because that bottom unit gets less light, often has lots more trouble with mold and mildew. People have more lung issues, all of those things. So we were like, let's not do that. Let's do side by side. And so we are really close to doing that. The housing initiative also was born to serve Black and Indigenous single parents. And we did that also after researching with a few different people and saying, where is the need? And why would we do 4-bedroom instead of 1 or 2-bedroom? Well, the reason is because when we talked to a few different county administrators, they said, look, there is 1 and 2-bedroom homes popping up all over the place, and apartments. And the big D developers are grabbing up affordable housing dollars to help subsidize their properties. So they're putting a lot of 1 and 2 bedrooms availability. But what happens often in our family structures, we're taking care of an elder as well as young children or a cousin or whoever, and there's not 3 and 4 bedrooms. So that's why we decided to go for the larger 3 or 4 bedrooms. And because we really believe in dignified housing, we wanted them to be beautiful. We wanted them to be, new construction and quality construction. And so right now we have 8 sites. I mentioned that the one site is really close to being underway, and we're really excited. I should also mention that we've also partnered financially. We've gotten funding from a Wells Fargo grant and the local Initiative Support Corporation, goes by LISC. They've also helped us with capacity building and through the form of grant making. So we are really excited. All of the homes are on the north side of Minneapolis. They're about 5 miles away from each other, or like within a 5-mile area. And we've also gotten a lot of guidance and support from Shared Capital around how to structure the cooperatives for the long term. So, and I think I can stop there. I could go on and talk about all the different angles of this property. I think the last thing I should mention is we are deeply grateful to be partnering with the City of Minneapolis Homes program. They are a major investment in this project, investing $900,000 to be able to make this first site actually happen. And what that money allows us to do is to construct these new homes to the tune of about $425,000 per unit, and then we're going to sell them to the families. And I use the term sell because in a cooperative housing, you don't sell, you do share loans. So they will be able to access that new home through a share loan for $195,000. Wow. And that's because the city is coming up with that. Yeah, we can clap for that. Let's clap for that. Yeah, and that's largely because the city is coming up with this, what's called affordability gap. So the sort of agreement we're making with the city to secure that is that you also have to be making 60% of the area median income to be able to access the share loan in the cooperative and occupy the home. So yeah, that's the sort of some nuts and bolts about the project. I will say that there is no other project like this in the country happening right now, and we're really proud to be sort of blazing this trail. We've heard feedback from the city of Minneapolis that we are creating paths for more cooperatives to come, and we're really excited to be a part of it. So we really feel like it's important to be changing the material conditions for our people as part of our work in liberation and justice. If you aren't changing material conditions for people, it's not that helpful, frankly, right? Like, we've got to be actually working to change the material conditions, the lived realities of people, so that they can have better, more stable bases to overcome the oppressions that they face. So yeah, I'll stop there, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, I think we're gonna do some questions, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Lena, it's so exciting to hear your excitement about it. I've gotten to hear you talk about it before, but I can just feel from everybody and the nods and the wow, look what creativity, and people coming together and saying, what else could this be? What could we do? How could the world be different? I love to change the material conditions for people. Yeah. You have been involved with this housing initiative and, well, with BLUU from the beginning, and I can only imagine that there have been lots of moments when you're just like, oh man, it's not going to happen. Or when you feel like you may be beating your head against white supremacy culture over and over and over and over again. And the structures. Yeah. And I would just love to hear what keeps you going in the work.
Yeah. That is a great question. What keeps me going in the work? I think it's in part a vision. The vision, like seeing and really believing in this cooperative housing. So holding on to the vision and honestly love, and not in like a sort of whatever way. I'm just like, some of it comes out of my own lived experience, right? As a solo mom by choice, right? I'm like, it's hard out here. All the structures are really pitted against you. And for other Black and Indigenous single parents that are on this journey, it's like, if I love you, how will I show you that I love you? And part of my commitment, and at BLUU, we talk about everyone has areas in where they are privileged and areas where they are experiencing oppression. And so I'm like, how can I leverage the privilege that I have to help others who maybe don't have those same areas of privilege? And so one of that is using my connections to forge new partnerships, using the funding that we got and sharing it, quite literally, and sharing it, right? All of those things, but it comes from a place of loving Black and Indigenous people, right? And that has been, and that's something that we really carry at BLUU as well, is that centering of just like, I think some people, sometimes we write very pointed statements and we say things and we don't mince words. And sometimes that can feel very abrasive to people. And when you realize that it comes from a place of deep love, right, I think it changes it a little bit, right? So I can share that. I can also say, like, part of my thing too is like, when you are offering up the words around Palestine, it's like, we all sometimes feel so small. It's like, what can you do with what you have where you're at? And throughout this whole project, I keep asking myself that, right? Like, this is what we have, this is where we're at. How can I keep on using that and just asking myself that question and use it to help us get these buildings, these homes into our world. And that has been a really guiding light for me. And when you mention just like the structures of white supremacy that come up, one of the things I encounter again and again talking about this project is people want it to be really big. They're like, why isn't it 100 homes? Why isn't it 200 homes? You know, things like this. And years ago when I first started talking about it, you know, it was just sort of it was just this vision, and we didn't have an architect with fancy renderings and, you know, help people visualize. And so I think the challenge for me too has been, how do I help people understand that we're starting with what we have, where we are, which is we can do 17. It used to be 24, but with the challenge to the Minneapolis 2040 plan, we're not able to do that anymore. So we've been knocked down to 17. And I will say that was a blow to my heart. I was really coalescing around the idea of 24 units, 24 families. But here we are. The law is the law. So yeah, so I will say trying to help people move along that sort of like, I don't know what to call it. It's just this inertia and this wanting, well, if you can't do something really, really big, then just don't do anything at all. Right. But there's like this whole middle ground, and like there's so much more you can do.
Well, I think Adrienne Marie Brown has taught me that about small is all, right? That justice movements are fractal, and that if we can get it right in the small, then it can build. And I'm encouraged to hear that the city of Minneapolis says that this project, first of its kind in the country, is paving the way for other possibilities. So
let's be really clear, the Minneapolis Homes Program.
Thank you.
In the city of Minneapolis.
Thank you, the Minneapolis Homes Program. Let's
not all departments of the city has been as supportive, but yeah,
I get that. Oh, that's so exciting to hear what that creativity, and let's do, what did you say? Do what we can with what we have where we're at.
Yes.
Man, I love that. That's good. I think so here's the deal. At noon, our noon program today, downstairs in the Chalice room, that's not very far from the lower assembly hall, Lena is going to share more about the housing initiative, so we can find out more about it, find out ways that we can support, find out a little more of the details, but you've given us a really good picture. So I hope folks will be able to join us for that noon conversation. And is this the point where we show the video?
Well, I think I got really excited and covered a lot that's in the video.
Okay, so maybe we'll show that.
I think we should show it at the presentation.
At noon, okay. Good, more video.
I will say this video is with Asale Soul, the executive director of Urban Homework, so it is worthwhile to get another voice in the picture,
Well, thank you, Lena Gardner, for your work in the world. I think that piece of love at the center, please, choir, come on. I think that piece of love at the center of all we do is so powerful, and love says, to the organizations that we care so deeply about, do better, right? If you love an organization, you can say, do better. If you love a country, you can say, do better. If we love each other, we can say, come on, let's do better and be better together. Without shame and blame, let's do better. Sing. We're going to sing We're Building a New Way, which is number 1017 in the Teal Songbook. And of course, the lyrics will come up here. Please stand as you are able.
We are building a new Good morning, everybody. So I'm Phil Duran, and I am here today wearing an apron and 2 hats. So the apron and one of the hats I wear because I've been part of the group that's been busy down in the kitchen this morning baking cinnamon rolls. So if you came into the building, you walk past the signs, you perhaps are smelling the aroma. They are tempting. They are delicious. They have been slightly affected by inflation. They are $5 for one, $9 for 2, still one of the best deals in town. They are well worth it, and as a reminder, this is a fundraiser this morning for the Ethical Explorers program, so the money will definitely go to a good cause. The second hat that I wear, as you may know, this month, February, the month of love, I'm shilling for the Stewardship Committee, and my job is to encourage everybody to turn in your annual pledge forms by February 29th. Now, I checked in with Doug Grody this morning in the office. He estimates that we're at about a quarter of the way there. And so that's an excellent start. Thank you. For those of you who have already done so, you can do them on paper downstairs or in the office. You can do them online, really very easy. For those of you who have done it, we are very grateful and thank you for that. Now, after a week or so of very intense negotiations with the Stewardship Committee, I am authorized to offer a deal to those of you who have not completed your stewardship forms. If you're in the building, come on down. Go to the cinnamon roll table. Cinnamon rolls for you, only you, will be $200. $500 for 2. Purchases of 3 or more, we do have a loan officer. So, I know, right? Now, no one wants to go through that. The background checks are awkward. We get it. So stop first at the stewardship table. It's the big pink thing. Take literally a minute, fill out the form. Even if your pledge hasn't changed since 1944, just fill out the form again, put it in the box, and you're gonna do everybody a favor. As you know, somewhat more seriously, as you know, by the end of this fiscal year, both David Breeden and Kelli Clement will be leaving us. And that introduces some element of uncertainty into our next fiscal year. We've been through this. We know that we're going to get through it. It's going to be fine. But by simply taking the moment to fill out that form, you will be doing your Board of Trustees and your Stewardship Committee and Finance team a huge favor by taking at least some of that uncertainty off the table, because that's how they know what they can count on from us. And so, again, please just take a moment. Take care of that today if you can, downstairs or online. It's really simple. Makes a lot of difference. Thanks.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil, for all you do. So, a few announcements today. Those of you in the building can enjoy conversation and Cinnamon Roll Sunday. We hope those of you online have something tasty awaiting you as well. Savory snacks will also be available downstairs to complement the cinnamon rolls. While you're downstairs, please sign a card and make your voice heard at our Active Voices table. Today, we are signing cards to support the Minnesota End of Life Option Act. Really important work for humanists to make our voices heard on this. As I mentioned earlier, our noon program, BLUU and the Northside Housing Initiative, is at 12 o'clock in the Chalice Room. We're doing something creative and new, and we're going to learn more about how this program builds equity for Black and Indigenous people in North Minneapolis. Also at noon today, our Welcome to FUS program. That's going to be in my office, which is just out the door and down the hall, right across from the elevator. And if you're ready to learn more about FUS and explore our pathway to membership, we invite you to come to this welcome session, which is either on site and it's also available online. That was in the Friday email, and perhaps somebody can put that link in. If not, we'll see. We'd love to see you there. The UU Animal Action Team, do you love animals? Join us for a planning meeting today from 12 to 12:45. I'm not sure where that meeting is. Does anyone know? in the Dietrich room, thank you, which is right next door here, the Animal Action Team. There will be a building tour today at 12:15. You can learn more about our building with Bruce Nelson to see the hidden nooks and crannies and some forgotten history of this 70-year-old mid-century modern gym. Well, not a gym, but a gem, right? It's like a gym. Right, right. And of course, our men's group meets on the second Sunday of each month in room 301. And don't forget, on Saturday night this coming week, we're taking a cue from the Danes and bringing hygge to FUS. Bring your best hygge to the Chalice Room and hang out with us. It will be a cozy evening of FUS friends, good conversation, music, and perhaps some board games. Way to keep up with the best way to keep up with all the things that are going on at FUS is in the Friday email. You get it once a week, read it. It's full of good information. And now we'll extinguish our chalice. Please say the words with me for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again. Be fearless. Ask questions. Hold on to what is good. Strengthen the weak. Comfort the fearful. Serve the suffering. Do what makes you come alive. Because as the great Howard Thurman taught us, what the world needs is people who have come alive. Rejoice in the power of the human spirit. So may it be.